Hey, it's 1-0. We're down. 13th in the championship. The takeover happened, as I said it would. People will be... Oh, when have we got Leeds? Now then, people, welcome back to the Just Joe football show. Hope you're all doing well. I'm not. Oh, God. Right, we've got loads to get through. Try to keep me calm. As I know, people say I overreact and all that sort of stuff. But I think time's now for some real chatter. Some real chatter. I'm all right, Paul. Blinky says he's fed up. I think we all are, aren't we? At the end of the day, it's a bit of a shit show right now, isn't it? Let's be real. We need answers, and we deserve answers as fans of this football club. You know, who am I, right? Who am I? I'm nobody. It is what it is. But I would argue a lot of people feel exactly the same. You know, I said this last week, and you know, you get dogs abuse, and listen, fair play to those that are still remaining positive right now. Fair play, okay. This isn't no dig at anybody, because if you can still do that, then I applaud you, because I wish I could as well. But like every morning, every evening, morning, evening, night, like nothing improves. Nothing is improving. You know, nothing is improving as the days go on, and we're now just 16 days away from the window closing. Now, they may bring people in. They may bring people in. Tom, is the press conference today? Is the press conference today at 1 o'clock? Is it actually today? Is that true? Because you'll be seeing me after then as well. I didn't realise. Otherwise, I'd have waited. But it is what it is. We can talk now, and we can talk after that. Hopefully, you know, we're going to hear something. But can you just confirm for me, folks, if the press conference is today? Stephen Walkup says reports yelled that he's on his way to Italy. They're all on the way, bro. Press is tomorrow. Yeah, I thought it would be tomorrow, not today. Yeah, so they're all on the way. The facts are everyone is leaving the football club, and we're going to go through Phil Hayes' article, because Parag Marate, who says he does contracts in his sleep. This is his wheelhouse. You know, I fell for it after doing the reaction to his original interview. This is his wheelhouse. Has engineered, or is party to, or at least was aware of these contracts that were being written up for some of these players, specifically Jack Harrison. Like, if you genuinely at this time, right? If you genuinely at this time believe that he wasn't involved in any capacity, then I'm sorry, and I don't mean, you are deluded. You are deluded. Now, I understand they weren't writing the checks, although they were improving their investment over time. Since 2018, they've been at this football club, yeah? And over time, their investment has increased, and therefore their influence has increased. You don't put money into a business and just say, I'll go away. Now, you might do if you're buying, I don't know, a couple of percent, yeah? But if you are increasing up to the point where you are so close to 50%, then don't tell me that you're not being involved at any capacity. As we know, he was on the board. Now, what further proves that Parag was aware of this contract situation, you only have to look at Jack Harrison. Look at the Jack Harrison saga, okay? Jack Harrison was willing to be sold by Andrea Radrizzani. This is factual, yeah? This is factual. Andrea was looking to move him on, and we were trying to bring in Nico Zaniolo, who, by the way, has the same agent as Nonto. It's bloody good job we didn't push that through. Let's just say that much, because he'd be refusing to play now as well. But the 49ers, remember, Jack Harrison was as much as through the door as Leicester as you can be. Okay, he was in Leicester. Okay, ready to make the move. Yeah. Now the 49ers came in and said, no, that's not happening. Okay. And we then gave him a new deal. Who engineered that new deal? Who was involved in writing up them contracts, knowing it was so close to Andrea departing? When someone tell me in the comments, when did he sign that contract? Was it April? Was it April? So it was April. I think there or thereabouts. They took over June. It's about 3 months, let's say. About 3 months. So they were involved in that contract. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, that contract is identical to the rest. It's identical. Now, that shows me, and also, there, you know, there's been a podcast uncovered from 2021. I say uncovered as though it was hiding. It's not. It's just been people bringing it back to the fore. He did an interview with Mark Chapman on Americans coming into sport, etc., 49ers, Leeds. And in this interview, what can he bring was contract situations. This is what his thing. This is my thing. This is what I do. This is where I made my name. Yeah. Like Jamie says, listen to the podcast today, clear as day. I've just been listening to it there before I came live as well. So Parag, for me, has helped engineer and orchestrate these contracts. Now, until he comes out and says, no, I haven't, then all we can do is be like this. But people, and again, this isn't any sort of attack. Everyone's entitled to their opinion, right? But for me, at this stage, if you don't believe he had any influence whatsoever in the current situation we find ourselves in, then for me, you are deluded. Okay, that's fine. Okay. It's wild to think otherwise. Now I may be wrong, but I don't think I am, because the thing is, like, the thing is, Parag or the 49ers or that side of the business, as it were keen on keeping Jack Harrison. Yeah. We're keen on keeping Jack Harrison. So they would have been the ones that would have engineered these contracts, because ultimately Andrea Radrizzani, 2 months after Jack Harrison signed his new deal, left. Remember, Andrea was leaving. Now, let me just, Jared, because I know you disagree. Not saying that. They didn't think they were going to get relegated, first and foremost. So do you think that so by that logic, he put the relegation clauses in knowing he was taking over the club, laugh out loud, we're reaching. By that logic, then, Andrea and Orta did it for what purpose? To screw us on purpose? Is that what you're saying? Even though Andrea wanted to sell him and he was in Leicester. So, by that logic, you're saying that why would the 49ers do that? Well, why would Andrea Radrizzani and Orta do that as well? Like, what? It's the same logic. They, for me, they're all one and the same. They're all one and the same. And the reason you can say this is the fact that Angus Kinnear's still at the football club. What are we doing here? He's still here. That tells you all you need to know. The people who were here before are still here. The only 2 people that have exited the building are Victor Orta and Andrea Radrizzani. Nothing else has changed, people. We've still got the player liaison officer still here. Do you know what I mean? We needed a fresh start from top to bottom, and we haven't got that. We haven't got that. And this is what's blowing my mind. Like, he was in. Okay, does all 49ers have any sort of responsibility? Was Angus not involved then? Was he the player? Was he the man on the inside? Even though Andrea brought him in, but he's obviously done enough, like sorting out the situation for the 49ers to go. You keep in your position, mate. You keep in your position. So you know what I mean? I don't understand how we how you can at this moment in time. Now again, you are allowed to change your opinion. They could bring us 5 players and everything will change because I want a shiny new toy. It is what it is. But right now, for those that are saying, "Oh, I'm positive," or you're wrong, all this, then what are we talking about here? And the facts are, the 49ers believed that they believed that players would want to stay at this football club on 60% wage reductions. That's what they believed. Because they're on record as saying, we hope to keep Adams, we hope to keep Harrison, we hope to keep Vorba. They've said they're cool to stay on 60% less money, by the way. Would you stay in your job for 60% less money? If a company that's bigger says to you, well, we'll pay you what you were getting in the Premier League. Don't take that wage reduction. We'll pay you 100% of your wages. No, I'm going to stay at this club that's going to pay. I don't care how. This is what I'm saying about loyalty. It's gone. It's gone. How can you? This actually, I feel, in a sense, you cannot blame the players. You can blame Willie Nonto because he's refused to play. That's his agent's fault. You can't do that. That's in breach of your contract. But you cannot blame the players, right? Who also, and people don't like to hear it, but they also have outgoings. Yeah, they also, and I know they're on a lot more money than us, but it's all relative. It's all relative, innit? Their houses cost a lot more money than my rent, right? But what I'm saying is, how can you expect players to stay, yeah? Players to stay when you have offered them a 60% wage reduction to protect the club, but you've also said as a sweetener, yeah, as a sweetener, you've gone, but if someone pays 100% of your wages, we'll let you go. Which option are you going to take? Realistically, what are you going to do? Ask yourself that question. If someone said to you, whatever job you do, taxi driver, accountant, bloody business manager, whatever you like, if your company went under, yeah, and said to you, look, we can't afford to pay you top dollar anymore, but we can afford to give you 60%. Well, sorry, we're going to knock off 60%. So you're only going to get 40% of your income for however long we're in this division. Yeah. Yeah. And then another company goes, oh, but we'll give you all your wage that you were getting before, which means you can pay all your bills still and be nice. And not only that, you're going to be working in a top company in terms of like infrastructure and eyes on you and all this sort of stuff. So you might even get a better job after you've come to us, because that's the law of the Premier League. Jack Harrison can go to Everton, have a good season and go somewhere else. It is what it is. Yeah. Well, Jared, you don't have to believe. You don't have to believe. I'm just telling you what my opinion is. But remember, he came to Leeds and his line was back in 2021. I'm here to help with contracts. Remember also as well the Jack Harrison saga. The 49ers fought to keep him. And a release clause was put in his contract, which enabled him to leave on loan. Okay, you don't have to believe it, and until we hear otherwise, then we'll not. And those that are asking me about the 60%, it's on record. We'll go through it because Phil Hayes done an article this morning. Okay, has done an article this morning. Okay, but that's the point I am making. Yeah, exactly, Jamie. But that's the sweetener, isn't it, Jamie? This is the sweetener that the players were given. You sign this deal, sign on these terms, and we'll give you an out. And ultimately, the club obviously felt that they would stay. In what world? This isn't the 60s, 70s anymore. Football ain't about that anymore. It's not. You've got, I mean, listen, talk about legacy. You've got someone like Neymar who's just going to go to Saudi Arabia. What is it? Do you see what I'm saying? It's like these things do not matter anymore. It's all about making bread, getting bank. And I understand it. So Luke Wiles says, also, Joe, we don't know the facts. No, we don't. And until we hear from them. And those little say, oh, the Athletic, the YEP, the BBC, who, they're all the same as me. They'll know more than me, but what they're reporting is what I'm saying. It's the same rhetoric. So everyone's in it for themselves, from players, agents, owners, the tea lady. Like, yes. 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 And let me say, I'm not saying that, but we, and this is what I've said to you all along, we deserve answers. We deserve clarity, because ultimately, Jared, when these leave, because they will do inevitably, we're still here. We're the people that get up on the morning and the first thing we think about is Leeds United. And the last thing we think about before we go to bed is Leeds United. The thing that we most look forward to, a lot of us in our lives, is Leeds United. The thing that we share common thing is Leeds United. This isn't the same. Yeah? This isn't the same. Matty says, I think, well, you hope. But listen, we've heard from the man before. And, I mean, in written word, it's brutal. We've heard from him before. It is what it is. We were told, remember the line? We were told, Bielsa never wanted players. They even wheeled out Eddie Gray. And he went on TalkSport and it said the exact same line. And it was BS all along. Lucas Roberts, I've just done I've just been on a Bournemouth channel, mate, with Sam. They're going to be editing up a video. The prominent Bournemouth channel. The names escape me off the top of my head. I've just done a video with him, so that should be coming out soon. So look out for that, Lucas. Yeah. Is there a more depressing club to support than Leeds United? Tell me about it, Scott. Tell me about it. Right, let's have a look at the article that the Athletic have put together, that Phil Hayes put together this morning. Okay. Jack Harrison looking like someone out of a payment failed. Times are hard, people. Times are hard. Okay. So, Leeds United, the battle to retain players and a balancing act of release clauses. This is the article. I've not even shared it with you. So just bear with us one moment. There we go. You can all see this now, okay? So this is from the Athletic. So I've seen a few people in the comments saying, where's the 60% reduction? Where's this? Where's that? Well, this is all in this article that Phil's put together for us, okay? So it says, one footballing lesson learned by 49ers enterprises that confident rhetoric follows you around. Promise aggression in a transfer window, and everyone listening will not just look for it, but hold you to that word, watching closely to see how the reality matches up. Well, this is the point, isn't it, as well? Yeah? This is the point. You're best off not saying anything at all. And the lines are, we're going to be aggressive. If this is aggression, then hang up your gloves. Because there's no point stepping in the ring, because you're going to get smoked within a round. Because this is not aggressive. Like, it's far from it. Yeah. You cannot call it aggressive at all. Okay. The dictionary Oxford definition for aggression, okay, is behaving or done in a determined and forceful way. Do you feel that this window has been determined? Has it been forceful? It's been exactly the opposite up to this point. Yeah. Up to this point. Pussycat window, exactly. Behaving or done in a determined and forceful way. The actual sentence says we needed more growth to pursue our aggressive acquisition strategy. Where is our aggressive acquisition strategy? There is not one. But again, if you don't say that, you know what I mean? Just showing a ruthless aggression. Coming in like John Cena, weren't they? They were coming in like John Cena. But and those that say like wait till the end of the window and all that sort of stuff and let's judge, we've been here before. We've been here before when we're saying these things. It's like Groundhog Day. We said exactly the same things, myself included. And guess what? We get to the end of the window and nothing. And nothing. They deserve to be criticised throughout. They deserve to be asked questions of. Because they're aware, they'll be aware of all this. They're aware of the articles. They're aware of people saying things. It's true. It's true. It's true. And I get, we haven't been aware of deals being done. But it's still not acceptable that 16 days left. We still don't know about the end dates on the contracts. Why not just be honest? Why not? Yeah, Damar's a great point. People were saying wait till the season started. I was getting called out saying, first game, divvy. Now look. Makes you laugh, but it is what it is. It is what it is, The same people. Like it's like under the previous ownership when we would do January and everyone would go wait to the end of the window and we'd only ever made one fecking signing in January before, and it's like, what's going to change? Why is it going to change? Why is it going to change? There needs to be transparency. Andrea said it last night. This isn't any other sport. This is football. And in football, there needs to be transparency. There needs to be transparency. Matty, I disagree. It's not viable to think that you can bring in seven players at the end of the window and suddenly make them click. We were talking about it last night, me, Andrea, and Lockie. You just weren't. It doesn't work. And again, I was on my way to the shop this morning. This pissed me off. Not because of Leicester, fair play to them. Leicester and Southampton are going to walk this league. Yeah? Walk this league. And we're sat waiting. We need an Ilias chair. They're getting Kazadei. You know what I mean? A player that we could have done with. This is what angers me more. This is what frustrates me more. Because it's like, what are we doing? What are we doing? Graham, there's nothing to be positive about. I hate that line. Back the boys. Be positive. Wait, what? Why? Why? Why should I be positive? What have I got to be positive about right now? The only thing outside of my kids that I look forward to because of the state of this fucking country right now and the state of living and the cost of it is Leeds United. So best believe I look to that to give me something. And the one positive of coming out of the Premier League, was to win some games. And 2 games in, we look worse. Not because of the style, because of the squad setup. That team that we put out on Saturday was brutal. Brutal. Not acceptable. And this isn't on them. This is on those that have let it happen. Who of those that have let it happen the board? And you could say it's the previous ownership. If that's the previous ownership, then tell us that. Then tell us that. Come out and say, oh, this, and this happened. There's no worry for me from relegation, although someone texted me yesterday and said I'm going to lump on Leeds getting relegated. There's no worry of that for me, right? But what is, for me now, where we currently sit, we're going to finish mid-table. If you think then you can look at teams, it's tough to get out of the division at the first time of asking. Ain't no joke there. I agree. But the longer you stay here, the worse it gets. The tougher it is to get out. So what gives Leeds fans, especially Leeds fans, the fact that we spent 16 years out of the Premier League, what gives you the thought that we're going to change this around if we don't go up in the first season? We've been here before. You know, this whole rebuild. Yeah, remember coming out of the Championship, it'll help us rebuild. That's what we were told. That's what people believed anyway. My God. My God. It's mad, isn't it? It's mad. This has got to be one of the worst rebuilds in history. If this is what rebuilding likes, then wow. Get the surveyors in, man, because it's about to fall down. Oh, God. We've played Cardiff, who lost to QPR, and we played Birmingham, who were bang average. We got 1 point. Can you imagine we come up against Norwich, Leicester, Coventry, Southampton, Ipswich? We've got Ipswich in 2 weeks. Where this is mad already. And already, where are the fecking points coming from? That's where we're at. This is why I'm laughing. Where are the points coming from? Oh my God, man. Oh my God. And a meltdown midstream, but it's like already we're in this position. Oh God. We need a defibrillator, mate. Forget open heart surgery. Yeah, the only white smoke you can see is my vape. That's true. People who disagree think I'm overreacting. That's entirely up to you. Whatever. But to them that say we shouldn't, no, Gary, no, because why? Like, what? This is what I mean. It's what? Hey, I like that picture though. Hey, let's put a smile on my face. The fonts. Hey, can't. But that's what that comment is. Hey, we might as well just hey till end of August. But you can't, man, can you? Because what we should be calling this out. We should be calling this out, and not saying we have any impact, but they need to be able to hear it and see it and know that people are unhappy. Know that people are unhappy. Tony, man, you, Tony, I'll be real with you. You think Dan James is good? I can't speak. I can't speak. Can't speak. What do you mean? What do I expect? More signings. I don't get it. Do not get it, man. But you rate Dan James, so is what it is. Like I said, did you think it would take one transfer window to rebuild? Why should we need to rebuild the entire club? Why? Leicester having to rebuild the entire club. But Southampton, the standards are not there. We should be up there. We should be in the mix. We should be in them conversations. Months or years. If you're willing to accept years, then that's cool, bro. But why should we? Why should we be accepting years at this point? I don't get it. It's not acceptable. What? Why should we be going? Why should we be going? It should take years. This is the 49ers. This is investment brand. Pete Lowry's one of the richest men in the world. You know, we've got got all these people. This isn't just this isn't Andrea, right? I could understand your sentiment if it was Andrea coming in after Cellino. That's what I'm saying. A rebuild after Cellino, a rebuild after Bates, a rebuild after GFH. I understand. A bloody rebuild after Ridsdale. I understand. Not after that. We've just been in the Premier League. We've just been in the Premier League. It's mad. It is mad, honestly. We shouldn't be in a situation where we're having to go, oh, you know, it could take years. I'm not accepting that. I do not accept that. There's nothing I can do to change it, but I do not accept that. And if this window was to end tomorrow, they will be getting called out. They will be getting called out. The only thing they have for now, is the fact the window's still open. But the window's still open. If it was shut, nah, you're done. If we end this window with this squad, nah, you're done. Bye already. That's where I'd be at. That's where I'd be at. Ain't no joke. Ain't no joke. We were the only club to get the only skin Arabs, and now we've got an American GFH, it would seem. So let's go. Let's go back to the let's go back. Before I do, let's get some super chats in. Thank you, Scott Roberts, for the super sticker. Thank you, Deniri, for the super sticker. Lee Witter says, everyone's in it for themselves. We went through that, sorry. Michael Yates says, you talk a lot of sense like most Yorkshiremen. We are so far adrift, it's frustrating. We deserve better from supposedly... Exactly. This is what I'm saying. We should not be saying, oh, it'll take years, or it'll take months. We shouldn't. We shouldn't be okay with that. We do deserve better, and we definitely deserve answers. We definitely deserve answers at this stage for me. We definitely deserve answers on we definitely deserve something. I'm just having a look now at some comments just to see if I've been tagged in anything while we've been live. Being informed Tottenham are keeping an eye on Willie Gnonto. There you go. I mean, if Tottenham will get him, they'll spend the money. There you go. There's his club. There's his club. I'm just checking before I go back to the article. Just to see. So Willie Gnonto might be on his way to Spurs. Well, that's going to happen, innit? They'll put. Then again, you're dealing with Daniel Levy, but you don't know, do you? Maybe what's his face maybe Steinson's been on chat to him or something. I don't know. It's madness. It's madness, innit? Is there any news on incoming? Is there it? Is there it? But then again, to be fair to the 49ers, because it is we have to give context. When they have done business, it's been very, very quiet until within a couple of hours. So you have to say that for them. They move in silence. To be fair, they move in silence. Right, let's go to the back to the article then. We only got through one paragraph and we were off. So here we go. It was there in black and white when ownership of Leeds United switched to the 49ers group. Paragmaraf's insistence that the new broom would be as aggressive as we can. That's what he said. As aggressive as we can. In addition, though, was the caveat of needing to be as creative as we can. If that was a hint at complicated summer ahead, it is proving to be the precedent. An aggressive approach was taken to mean investment in new players and leads. Okay, as any fool at Birmingham City on Saturday could see, we are crying out for them. Exactly. And that's right now, not at the end of the window. Now we're crying out for them. But a key strand of the club's strategy for this season, the era of their strategy, which has run into trouble after a couple of months, was the desire to be aggressive with retentions, to keep some of their high-value players to avoid losing the calibre of footballer a championship club would normally lose and prevent churn that amounted to total exodus. Now, this is where the problem lies. Believing that players who had relegation release clauses in were going to stay, okay? I'll give you Leicester City as a perfect example, okay? They couldn't keep hold of Maddison. They couldn't keep hold of Barnes. They're top level, okay? But the rest of the players are still there. Ian Dewsbury Hall, Ndidi, Roberto Pereira, many, many more names that I can't reel off at the top of my head that are of a sufficient level, if not, well, Iheanacho. He tears up this league, by the way. Yeah? 6 of them players, yes, 6, I believe, who originally said they wanted to leave, have now worked under Maresca and said, we want to stay. Wout Fess, exactly. At this level, Timothy Castagna. There's so many names, yeah? The point is, they want to stay now, okay? Because can you, and again, I agree with you, Matthew, it's because they don't have relegation release clauses. Exactly. But this is my point, where for me, the 49ers become deluded. Because in what world did you believe, this is the point I'm making, that players would stay when they have release clauses? In what world? Why would you even believe this to be the case? So you've let the ones you probably didn't want to go. What didn't want to keep, Aronson, Koch. But the ones you felt you were going to keep, Forber, Adams, Harrison. I don't know why you thought you were keeping them when they had a 60% wage reduction. How can we expect them? Yeah. How can we expect them to want to stay? How can you expect them to want to stay on the money that they're on? You know? So to come out and think, but Matthew, you're not getting the point. It's not even a case of them saying it. They believed it. They believed it. They believed it. You should know that it ain't going to happen. It ain't going to happen. Let's be realistic here. It's not about, for me, it's not about them saying it. It's about believing it. And Jared, if you think that's an assumption, then why are we here now? Why can't we fill a bench? Why can't we fill a bench, bro? So if they didn't believe it and they just said it, then why haven't they rectified the situation? Why can't we fill a bench? If I'm making an assumption that they believed it, then why haven't they rectified the situation? How long's the window been open now? Why haven't they rectified the situation? If they didn't believe it, why haven't they rectified the situation? And if they didn't believe it, why are they saying it? Why are they bullshitting to us? They're liars. They're liars, but still you defend them. Still you defend them and tell me I'm all this da-da-da-da-da. If they didn't believe it, then they're lying to you. So there's your first issue. And if they so they're lying, saying that, and on the flip side, if they knew they were going to go because of this clause, why haven't they rectified the situation? Do you think it's acceptable for Daniel Farker to not even be able to fill out a bench and to have three goalkeepers in your match day squad? And also, it's not even about the 11 that was out there was shit. That's the facts of it. I'm sorry, it was terrible. You are defending them, bro. You are defending them. Abdul Rahman Al Khalifa, inshallah, brother. He says, as a long time fan of LUFC, I am sure with time things will improve. You hope. Patience, joy is all we need. Try, bro. Let's make judgment at the end of August. I hope you're right, mate. I hope you're right, inshallah. I hope you're right, mate. It's going to take at least a season or two to alter and cause mess. When you mention the core, Angus is a part of that core. Angus is a part of that core. Okay, yeah. Oiper, but they knew it. You know what I mean? They were okay with that. 3 goalies and no strikers. That's what I mean. Oh god. Oh god. Stephen, I don't think I have, bro. If you've not been watching, bro, because I've agreed with that sentiment. Who've I called out? Who've I called out? I've called out Willie Nonto on record, on videos, called out Willie Nonto. I've actually said I understand it for the rest. You know? So I don't agree with that. Let's go back to the article anyway and see what more's been said. Tell me about it, Michael. There you go. The cold truth for Ellen Road is that deep down, and whatever the message they transmitted to the club, most of the footballers rated as big assets wanted to leave. Max Vober was a perfect example, and in a sense, the first to warn of what was coming. Initially giving the impression that he was committed to a year in the EFL, only to activate his release clause once a suitable bid arrived from Mönchengladbach. Individual players have avoided talking about their futures among themselves, but the atmosphere at Thorpe Arch has been one in which, in the wake of loss from Premier League status, so many have been waiting to see what offers came their way. Back at the end of the May, Tyler Adams, Jack Harrison and Willie Nonto were 3 of the names Marathi and the 49ers group were most set on hanging on to. How can you be set on hanging on to at least 2 of them who have release clauses? But 2.5 months later, none of those 3 have been convinced. Again, that comes back to why you're not able to convince them then. Again, questions need to be asked. Midfielder Adams almost joined Chelsea and has been looking to use his release clause to find a way back into the Premier League, with Bournemouth pushing to do a deal with him. Expect that to be done today. It allows him to depart for around 20 million, though the clause is believed to be time limited and does not remain valid right into the very end of the window. Nonto refused to play at Birmingham over the weekend and is angling for a move out of Ellen Road. Jack Harrison joined Everton. There is a wait now to see what happens with Sinistera after his absence at the defeat from Birmingham. Leeds are not so far from a position where the one high-value name they ultimately keep is Ilian Melier, the goalkeeper they plan to sell. Were any sets like you can't do anything right, man. This is why it's laughable. This is why it's laughable, people. Because the ones they wanted to keep want to go, and the ones they were ready to sell want to stay. God, man. Jared, ask your boys who you're backing. I agree with that. Ask your boys who you're backing, mate. Oh God, it's mad, isn't it? It's mad. Is it possible that the process that the 49ers use in recruitment may not be viable in English football? Maybe. You just don't know. This contract situation certainly isn't. And hopefully they've learnt their lesson. Hopefully they've learnt their lesson because they're not going to. Yeah, they're not going anywhere. And with like you say, time and all that. But I'll have to wait and see. I guess a positive is on the Willie Nonto situation is the fact that Tottenham have entered the race, because you know you you might have a bidding war on your hands if he's not going to stay. So that might bring some money in. Sean says, is it possible the 49ers ain't got an effing clue? Potentially, bro. Potentially. I miss him as well, Locks. I miss him as well. I can't lie. I can't lie, mate. At the minute, he comes back every couple of days. Sometimes when there's reasons to be positive. The last time I did one of these, the Max Aarons thing happened. I was positive for a couple of hours, so hopefully something might happen, eh? But I've got a feeling Adams will leave. Well, I've not got a feeling he is leaving, so that'll be the next news. Apparently, Leo Hjelde going on loan to Italy, so that's another one. Will Sinisterra play on Friday? Probably not. Will Somerville? Probably not. It's all negative right now. There's nothing to be positive about. You know what I mean? So it's going to get worse before it gets better. It's going to get worse before it gets better. Don't worry, Joe Eiling's still here and he's fit. Yeah, captain and that. Oh God, no! Even I can't spin that one, bro. Even I can't spin that one. Even I come. Yeah, Rob, exactly. At least we've got some realism, bro. I like that. That's true. It's true because football fans are fickle. But whose job is it? Whose job is it to do that? It's the team and the manager on the pitch, but outside of that, it's the ownership to make the club. Like today, I know it's trivial, but today tweeting a Lee Chapman goal. On this day. Go read the replies to that tweet from even the most positive. From even the most positive. Yeah, McBurney doesn't hate Leeds, by the way. I mean, he knocks about with Dan James, with Luke Ayling and that. He doesn't, but I don't know. No, Ollie McBurney's a non-starter, folks. Don't believe what you read. I mean, never surprise you, actually. You never know, do you? It was not that United did not expect a big clear out, or that one wasn't needed after a horrible season. I agree. You know, the likes of Koch, Aronson, etc. What they did not anticipate were departures on quite this scale, or such a lack of leverage when it came to persuading players that it was in their interest to stay on board and help Leeds compete for promotion. Again, that's the sticking point, isn't it? Who was it who believed that they could do this? You know, Dan Moylan was on the Phil Hay thing last night, and he said like that's negligent as well in itself, believing that you have the power and the persuasion techniques to convince Premier League players to stay in the Championship, especially when they have release clauses. That's the sticking point for me. Why did you believe it when they had release clauses? If they didn't have release clauses, I understand it because you can say you're going nowhere. The only way you're going is if you pay X amount. And if someone hits that, we'll accept it. But to come out with that notion, with that narrative is wild for me because you knew they had release clauses. In several instances, United have been powerless to prevent departures owing to relegation release clauses. Again, they knew this though, right? Many allowing players to leave on loan, provided the club, taking them, agreed to cover the whole of their salary for the campaign ahead. Nonto down tools last week because, in contrast to so many others, his deal contains no provision like it, leaving Leeds under no obligation to sell him. At which point you can say you are not going nowhere, which is what they're doing with Nonto. However, Nonto is clear, he wants a way out. And if Spurs are serious, I mean, Spurs might be doing Steinson a solid and looking to make Everton act, but yeah, we'll see. The upside to the stream of outgoings at Leeds is that alongside immediate wage reductions activated by relegation, the wage bill at Ellen Road has dropped further and significantly. Last season, it was costing the club in excess of 10 million a month. It has already come down to around half as much. Okay. So again, folks, already they've saved 5 million a month. So there's savings there, right? What's happening with that money? You know, those that say, oh, incomings. Remember that we've got parachute payments, and like Phil says, we've already shaved 5 million a month off the wage bill. You know? But consternation outside Ellen Road and with Daniel Farker on the inside has been caused by the incessant run of exits on loan, denying Leeds anything in the way of meaningful transfer fees or fees that represent a big profit on what was paid for a player in the first place. Cuts to the wage bill will help with meeting financial fair play limits in the Championship, and there are certain loans that have suited Leeds on the basis of those players involved. Brendan Aronson, for example, might otherwise have been sold at a loss, weakening their FFP position. But the absence of incoming cash from the market has done nothing to help the club attack the window. Basically saying the Aronson one, it makes sense, yeah? Because if you were to sell, Brendan Aronson would have took a massive loss, especially when you consider that we paid 25 million for him. No one's paying anywhere close to that, so they loan him out. I understand that, okay? Southampton, in a stark contrast, are set to pull in more than 100 million, okay? Money that greatly enhances their chances of returning to the Premier League. Romeo Lavia alone looks like earning them 60 million. And again, this is where it comes back to the previous ownership and their poor squad building, okay? The 49ers cannot be at blame for that, because Victor Orta went and got these players. And these players are ones that look at Southampton. I mean, we ended up with Darko JB. JB might turn out to be a baller, but let's be honest, he could have cut it against Shrewsbury. They went and got Lavia. Why we didn't get Lavia after taking such a derisory fee for Phillips in the first place? 40 million. 40 million. Let's just talk about that for a second, actually. 40 million. 40 million. Now look at how much these DMs are going for. Caicedo's just gone for 110, 115. Declan Rice went for 100 million. Romeo Lavia is going for 60. We got 40 for us, who's in the England setup. It was only John Stones outside of him that played more minutes in the Euros, which England got to the final of. And we accepted 40 million and took Darko JB. I mean, that's due to the previous ownership, but that's wild, isn't it? When you think about it, when you actually deep it, that season later, Declan Rice, 100 million. Caicedo, 115 million. Lavia, 60 million. We took 40. Now, Calvin's move hasn't worked out, but 40 million? James Ward-Prowse has just gone for 30, and they've been relegated. We were in a strong position, and we sold him for 40 million. Mental, innit? I agree with you, Louis. I agree with you, mate. I do agree with you, pal. But still, we could have got more than 40 million. But that previous ownership were all about getting the bag. Like, just get the money in quick. Get the money in quick. Yeah, I know Rice is better. That's still... I'm on about the disparity. We took 40, Rice went for 100. It's 60 million difference. I'm on about Lavia going for 60 and we took 40 for England's Player of the Year. I'm on about Caicedo going for 115 and we took 40. I'm not saying he should have gone for 100. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying this is as good as Rice or Caicedo. I'm not saying that. But what I'm saying is we took 40 million. Mental that. Even that's bad, isn't it? It's such a derisory offer, bid and all that sort of stuff. But look, a big gain on the 12 million that secured him. So they paid 12 million for him. They're selling him for 60. Leeds are largely powerless to stop players activating clauses. I mean, someone on Twitter said earlier, yesterday, that clauses don't mean you have to sell them at that price. I was like, what are you on about? Anyway, Harrison is the latest to leave on this basis. The Athletic has been told that the reason those clauses exist or were negotiated in the first place was because United wanted players they recruited in the Premier League to accept automatic wage reductions as high as 60% if the club went down. So that's the club's failing, okay? The make weight for them agreeing to substantially reduced earnings in the EFL was a separate clause allowing them to move on, and to move on fairly easily on a temporary basis. This is where I believe the 49ers were also privy to this information. Now, people disagree with me. That's fine. That's fine. And until they say otherwise, I will always believe that fact. Because back in 2021, Parag said he was come and he was going to help with contracts. Yeah? He was going to come and help with contracts. And this is the situation we find ourselves in. And also, Jack Harrison had one of these in, and he just signed a new deal in April. And the 49ers were getting ready to take full control. The wheels were in motion. The wheels were oiled and ready to go. Yeah. So this is why I believe they were also privy to this information, specifically Angus as well. Angus knew what was going down. Yeah. So we were saying, yeah, you know, take a 60% wage. Why not? I mean, listen, I'm not a contract man yet. I don't know, but why did you have to do that? Why not? There would have been another way around it. A lot of these players would have maybe accepted just a release clause, like Adams, and we could have got money back that way. Why did we have to say 60% and then think that they're going to stay and then let them go out on loan? I don't understand. Do you know what I mean? There was other ways around it. Surely other ways around it than to say, here's a 60% wage reduction. And then the players saying, oh, but for me, the fact that there's so many of these clauses means that Leeds were the one pushing it. Means that Leeds were the ones that were pushing it. Exactly, Joe. This is the point I'm making, bro. You can't, can you? I was saying this earlier, but Leeds were pushing it clearly because every fucker's got one. Everyone's got one. So it's not as if the players have come in and their agent's gone, okay, we'll accept that, but we want to loan, because that would be mad, because that would mean every single player has the exact same agent. And it's not true, is it? Do you know what I mean? We know that that's not true. So Leeds were the ones that said, you have to take a 60%, but we'll let you leave on loan. That is wild. That is wild, isn't it? Madness. Okay, let's go back to the article. You were desperate and sad to take the view you have. Honestly, you make no logical and business sense. Get a grip. Okay, so explain to me what's not logical. I don't have a business degree, clearly, like yourself, but tell me what I'm getting wrong. Charterhouse. Tell me what I'm getting wrong. Because I've seen you mention a few on few streams now. You're clearly backing the 49ers, and that's fine. And back them to the hilt. Just like people back the previous ownership and all that sort of stuff. Everyone's fine. But can you please explain to me which parts I'm not making sense? And then I'll try and see it from your side. There's no need to be rude either, bro. Like, we can just talk about it, innit? But yeah, do you want to explain to me what it is I'm getting wrong? And we'll chat about it, innit? Because I'm genuinely so that's it. So that is it. That's all you've got for me. After saying I'm sad and I'm dumb, I don't know, I have a clue about business. All you've got for me is Orta is the culprit. That's it. Is that all you've got? Is that you lapping up what you're being told by the club and that all the time? Yeah. Genuinely, I'm curious because if you've gone uni yet to get it to if you see, well, this is what I mean. This is where you're crazy. This is where you're mad. Like, you're calling me names, by the way. You're calling me names, by the way. And your whole shtick is that Victor Orta did this because he had a personal vendetta against Leeds. That's just silly, isn't it, bro? That's just silly. So we move. That's just silly. To think that he came in his job and he had a personal vendetta. No, he didn't. His ego was massive. He wanted to be a success. It's like when people say, "Oh, do you think these 49ers have come in? It's in their best interest to get us up." Yeah, it's in everyone's best interests. It's in everyone's best interest. Any owner goes into a football club to make money. They don't go in and go, "I can't wait to lose money," do they? Do you know what I mean? They can't wait to lose money. So if that's all you've got, mate, after saying that, after calling me desperate and sad, and that I make no logical and business sense, get a grip, man, you've said to me. If your whole shtick there is because Orta had a personal vendetta against Leeds, like my man was getting up in the morning going, "Whoa, can't wait to ruin Leeds United." That's wild. That's wild. I dislike Orta, but that is wild. And I'm the idiot. You know what I mean? I'm the this, I'm the that. Do you know what I mean? So your whole thing is baseless. Is baseless. I'm reading an article from The Athletic and giving you my opinion on it. And I do think it makes logical sense to say what I'm saying. The fact that the 49ers have been here since 2018, the fact that you think a person invests a massive amount of money into a company and has no clue whatsoever, isn't bothered about their investment whatsoever. Yeah. So here's 15 million. Here's 40 million. But I'd not ask what you do with it. So if you think they didn't have any interest in what was going on at the football club since 2018, most recently, they were pivotal in the renegotiation of Jack Harrison's contract because Radrizzani wanted to sell him to bring in Nico Zaniolo. And the 49ers said, "No, you shall not do this." If you then don't think that they were involved, see, this is where, bro. This will be the last. I promise this will be the last. This is where you've listened to Parag Marath and him say, "I'll take notes," and you've gone, "That is gospel. That is gospel." And there you go. There you go. And yeah. Anyway, there you go. Just lap it up. Take the company line, and you'll be good. Honestly, I promise. That's the best way to go about it. I promise you. Just keep doing it. Keep doing you, and you'll be fine. But I'd probably not watch me because I'm not about to be doing that. So United then control of Radrizzani with 49ers in a minority position. Needed salaries to drop drastically if they fell back into the EFL, okay? Transfer targets are willing to accept wage cuts only if exit provisions existed too. But it's fair to wonder now if United ever really expected relegation to bite, whether they assumed these clauses would never have to be confronted. It is also fair to ask how well prepared the club were for the pressure those clauses would put on them in the summer. Farke's view, given quite openly and repeatedly, is that the same scenario should never happen again in the future. So many players have moved out on loan that Leeds are virtually on the threshold as FIFA's limit that allows club to send out a maximum of 7 players on temporary deals. There's also a sticking point here for me, okay? There's also a sticking point here for me and a worry, okay? And again, I don't know much about it, okay? What I will say, yeah, I don't need commenting. If you don't want to be here, don't be here. Don't bother me. you come for my opinion. If you don't like what you're hearing, then naturally I would prefer you to do that, because like if I'm watching something and I don't like it, I switch it over. That's fine. I'm not gonna change my opinion on the whim of people that are watching. I'm sorry, and I don't mean that in any disrespect to anybody who's watching, but like I can only be real, right? That's what you want, isn't it? Surely. But yeah, my worry is with regards to this FIFA Regulation 7 international loans, and I'd love some clarity on it. My worry is if we hit that threshold and we still have players that have these loan clauses, surely we cannot say, well, we've hit the maximum, you can't go out on loan, because that would be a breach of their contract. And I think the real sticking point here, the real sticking point here would be Leeds United are the ones that have screwed up. They've screwed up by allowing them to get themselves into a situation which has meant that more than 7 have been allowed to leave. Because surely FIFA would go, well, that's your fault, Leeds. That is your... And I agree with Damar, we'd end up getting taken down the court of arbitration and all this. And again, no, yeah, yes, they do. Yes, they do. But you can't tell me FIFA would say, oh, sorry, Sinistera, I know someone's activated your loan release clause, but Leeds United have hit their maximum, so therefore you have to stay. No, they wouldn't. So there's another issue that we need to be... that could rumble on. Now, we only have one loan slot left, by the way. They only have one loan slot left, by the way. Now, Leo won't come under that because he's under 21. But there is only one loan. So let's say Sinistera takes that spot. If anybody else then they, by the rules, cannot leave. But which stuff do we go? Where does that go? It's mad. I don't know. I'd love to know what the actual... I wonder what would happen there. Yeah, no, we can, Jack. But what I'm saying is, if it was an international loan, yeah, and yeah, I agree with you. But what I'm just saying, what if it wasn't? What if it wasn't? Do you see what I'm saying? So it's worth just thinking about that, because we don't know what's around the corner with this football club, right? Yeah. Paul as well, like with the ratification, yeah, it did take a while. But again, it don't really change anything for me. That, yeah, it's put us on the back burner, but I mean, we're not doing out to rectify it currently. Yeah, exactly. Steve, you could argue they could just put us under an embargo, like transfer embargo. Genuinely, that's the sort of stuff we're talking about here, where they would just go, well, nah. Do you know what I mean? And this is my point as well. Regardless, and also the club as well, often on the pitch. Can you imagine the players going into work? Nobody's there. The mates are leaving left, right, and centre. It's brutal, isn't it? It is brutal. It is really, really brutal. Let's go back then to it says that rule applies only to foreign loans, not domestic moves like Harrison's. But in the circumstances, subsequent exits might have to be to English clubs or on a permanent basis. So Phil's answered that question there, isn't it? Like, if we hit the threshold, we're either going to have to loan them to an English club or on a permanent basis. And if we're being real, if it's a permanent basis, because of the contract situation, you're going to have to take a massive reduction on what their valuation is. No one's going to pay top dollar when they know they've got you over a barrel. Do you know what I mean? That's the facts. They're going to go, well, we know that you have to allow this player to leave. And Leeds United have allowed themselves to get in this situation. Okay? Mark says, if we were under an embargo, would we even notice? Exactly. Maybe it might be easier. Maybe it might be easier. And again, I agree, Matt. Again, I agree, mate. I agree. It was all a dream. I used to read Word Up magazines. Hell, Salt and Pepper and Heavy D up in the limousine. Hanging pictures on my wall. Every Saturday. Yeah, you know. Let's move back to the article. It says, as Farker keeps pointing out, defections from his squad are not what he wants, and he's dealing with it right. He's saying, you shall go train with the kids. Incoming transfer business is badly needed. He had an 8-man bench at Birmingham with 2 keepers on it, and as he spoke post-match on Saturday, Harrison to Everton was about to gather pace. It seemed unlikely to be the last outgoing transfer. This is the point as well. So Phil and the club are expecting more. It is impossible for Leeds hierarchy to paint this as anything like a satisfactory situation. They want to read my comments. They want to read my live comments because for some it's still satisfactory. Don't worry about it. Or to deny that with hindsight it would have made more sense to establish who was minded to leave much earlier in the summer. Again, this comes back. This comes back to the current ownership. Like Phil here said, they should have, mentioned this right now. They should have known by now, right? Players can find themselves in 2 minds, and it is not always in club's gift to know if or when offers will actually arrive. Likewise, Farker's commendable suggestion that United resist relegation release clauses in future has to acknowledge the fact that doing so will reduce the pool of players the club can go after. Footballers at the top level have an extraordinary amount of bargaining power, but on the question of who in the squad relegated at Ellen Road last season wants to be here, the answer appears to be very few. Redemption, and this is what it's about, the redemption arc, yeah? From the heel turn to the face turn, and it can happen, even from myself, and I know, even from you guys in the comments that are annoyed and angry right now. The heel to face turn can happen. The positives can happen. How do they do that? They have to bring players in. Yeah, we have to. There is a way for me to say in a week's time, or at the end of the window, as everyone keeps telling me, when I can say, do you know what? You guys in the comments that told me I needed to relax, that told me all this, I could go and say, oh, you were right. And I was a fool. And I was a clown. And I was a tit. And I should have waited. Yeah? Then that is the redemption arc. They will, Jared, you've changed already, bro. From the start to the end, you've changed, my guy. Jamie says we need about 7. Yeah. And they're not even 7 squad players. These have to be 7 first teamers. We need a striker. We now need wingers or inside forwards. We need a 10. We need a midfielder. We need a left back. We need a right back. Mad. And we need another centre back. That's mad. But yes, redemption is still possible. Redemption is still possible. Redemption in this window depends now on what Leeds can pull off in the fortnight remaining, just 2 weeks. It will take recruitment on a fairly epic scale to convince their crowd that escaping the EFL might not require a minimum of 2 seasons. Farker warned of a bumpy start in his very first press conference. That description is starting to sound more than a little charitable. He cuts the figure of a manager who wants control but does not have it. Prone to limitations as Leeds try to untangle the web they are in. The first week of the season has cast them as a club who are some distance from being ready for it. Great article. Great article, great piece, and lots of truths and stuff that we need to really think about as a fan base. Is what it is. It's not great right now, is it? It is not great right now. It's just not great right now. I'm just catching up on Twitter, just to see if there's anything I've missed while I've been ranting. One sec. Sorry about this. Yeah, just the Tottenham entering the race for non-tour. That's it. That's all there's been, folks. Yeah, that's all there's been. So that's it, really. I genuinely thought this week we'd hear stuff. It's Tuesday. It's 1:30, and all that's probably going to happen today is we're going to see some exits. We're going to see some exits between now and then. So I don't know. It's mad, isn't it? It's mad. It's a shit show. Paul Diamond says, "Can't we just advertise for an EFL starting 11, Joe? Put a few posts up around the town." Yeah. Annie Paul, yeah, we can buy players, bro. We can buy players. Of course we can. We tried to sign Max Aarons. He was going to cost us 7 million, rising up to 12. Of course we can buy players, mate. The money's there. They've shown us that. They've shown us their hand. Big up to Tom. Focus on these. One would hope they include them in 7 players' contracts. Yeah, it's mad, isn't it, Tom? I wonder if you feel the same, bro. Do you feel maybe not as emotional as me, but I think there's a lot. Joe, will Nonto be here next month? I don't think so. I think the club maybe have got what they wanted with regards to Tottenham entering the race. Tottenham entering the race could envisage a bidding war, or might see Everton give us what we want. So yeah, but I think I think if I think genuinely, like, and this might sound mad. Like, if we get to the end of the window and there's not been enough, I'll be done with them already. And I think that's years of just because you can see it as you get older. Maybe I get a little bit wiser, and I think I'm not falling for your bullshit anymore. I'm genuinely not falling for your bullshit anymore, because that's what it is up to this point. It's bullshit. But Charles, no. If I'm a Leeds player, but I'm a Leeds fan, but I can't blame the players. Call them what you want. I can't blame the players. And once one does it, the rest will do it. And non-tour for me has almost been the straw that's brought the camel's back. And now they'll all be going, yeah, I'm off. I'm off. I'm off. I'm off. Bruce Kelly says, "I'm so sick of the circus. Pathetic, absolute banter here. He's back. 5 seats. 5 a side." Yeah, it's mad, isn't it? But this is the problem, bro. Like, who are we going to be able to field on Friday? Who realistically can we field on Friday? At least the defence might look better, because you'll have Rodon alongside Strauch and Byram at left back. That is stronger. So defensively we'll be all right. Ampadu in front. But going forward, man, it's embarrassing. There ain't no goals there. They got no goals in. Shackleton right wing. How bad's that? How bad is that, people? No disrespect to Shackleton, but how bad is that? It's brutal, isn't it? If Perkins is fit, I'd give it. No, we're not a charity FC. If he's not ready, he's not ready. It's pointless. It is mad, like how we've not got anybody in. I genuinely think they only got Rodon as fast as they did because of Cooper. If Cooper don't get injured, does Rodon come in? Ask yourself that question. Yeah, I genuinely think it's almost the same guy. As the days go on, the similarities are too close. They're too close, people. Because remember, the only reason we signed non-tour, we were told by the board, by Angus, who's still there, said, we don't just want warm bodies. We've got 2 international strikers and the best young player in the bloody world. And then Rodrigo injured his shoulder. Yeah. And then they went and got a striker because they had to. Now, if Cooper wouldn't have got injured, would they have even got Rodon? And people say, "Oh, but I'm right to feel like this now. Do you know what I mean? I'm right to feel like this now. What's going on with Firpo? You don't want to go, mate. You don't want to go. It's mad, isn't it? Greenwood's back, but he's not the answer. He's dog dirt. He's dog dirt. Needs a loan. I'm sorry, you're not getting promoted with Greenwood as a starting player. That's true. You're not getting promoted with Joffrey leading the line. You're not getting promoted with just Dan James as being your only attacking outlet. We are not getting promoted right now. Not by any stretch of the imagination. You know, you've got Leicester signing Kazadei, Mavadidi. They have Vardy and Iheanacho up top. Vardy and Iheanacho. You know, Southampton have got Adam Armstrong, who scored goals for fun at this level. They've got Shea Adams. Remember the one that... Yeah, anyway, we move. Let's not go there, Joe. You know, all these players. Southampton are signing bloody Flynn Downs. Flynn Downs from West Ham. Keenan Dewsbury Hall. Names that are mentioned. And what have we got, genuinely? What have we got right now? Yeah, Jamie, I'm resigned to that fact now as well, bro. And it's mad how already... This is why I'm so disappointed as well. Already, on the 15th of August, bearing in mind, the season started on the 5th. On the 5th, already in 10 days, it's a write-off. It's near enough a write-off. And again, I'm already not enjoying my football club. And as I said to you right at the start, this is one of my... The thing that I look to most, outside of my children, the thing that I look to most to give me something. That's why I was in tears when he went. and everyone mocked me, and that's fine because but football for me, it's Leeds United for me is death. And I'm not trying to say I'm not doing that, but what I'm saying is it really has and I wish it didn't. And hopefully, as I get older, maybe it won't, and I'll get less and less arsed until I'm sat in my granddad's bloody rocking chair going, get that shit off my TV. They do my head in. I'm done with them. Do you know what I mean? Jay, no, I don't do that, bro. I don't do that. There's no revisionism. I don't do it. I'll say I was wrong. I'll say I was wrong. I'll say I was wrong. But people know on here when I'm wrong, I will say it. When I'm right, best believe I'll remind you as well. It's all fun and games. I was wrong on Cine, for example, and I always say that fact. You know? Oipa says it don't get any easier. Benny says it does ease with age. I hope you're right. We've had another super chat. The squad will be decimated come the end of the window, and don't see us bringing anyone in that will make us competitive, even for mid-table. And that's the mad thing in it, bro. We're 10 days in. We're 10 days in, aren't we, folks? We're 10 days in. Oh, trust me, Chris, they exist. I've lost subscribers today because of it. They exist. They walk among us. Holy Ghost, let's manage it. But we shouldn't have to, though. This is the point. This is what's really getting me right now. We shouldn't have to. We shouldn't have to be doing this. Get the petrol and matches out. Yeah. Get it out and burn it down, man. Seth Rollins. Mad. If you don't laugh, you'll cry. This is a mad thing. This is a mad thing. Someone's just mentioned Forshaw. Letting him go right now looks like such a bad thing. That had done it. Forshaw right now would have been all right. That's the mad thing. That's the situation we're in where we're probably going, could we? Do you reckon we could get Forshaw back? It's mad. It is mad. We need click. Yeah, click on it. Anyway. Already, mate. Already. Tell me about it. Mad, innit? It is madness. Anyway, listen, we've done an hour and 25 minutes. Rant enough. Please smash a like on the video. Subscribe to the channel. Let me just check the likes before you head off. I can understand if somebody ain't like the video. That's totally fine. Uh, there's only 461 folks. There's 1,100 people. If you could all just do me a solid and like the video, at least get that up to 500 likes if you can. It massively helps the channel. Just check Twitter to see if there's anything I've missed before we exit. Kepa on his future. Premier League managers have been transformed into Ken-inspired Barbies. What is all that about? Ex Brian Dean's come out and battered people. Tottenham striker Troy Parrott is a loan target for a number of clubs this summer, including two Eredivisie club, one Bundesliga outfit, and one La Liga team. LUFC data says, as a tremendous a servant he has been at the club, Luke Aylin's days as Leeds' first choice right back should be well and truly over. City are about to submit an £80 million bid for Lucas Paqueta, and that's all I've missed. So there's nothing there. Hopefully something changes. David, if something changes, you'll see me tonight as well. You know me, I try and keep it locked as much as I can. But yeah, I've got my kids. Go get Harry now, and I've got the kids tomorrow and that as well. So it might be a bit, but know that if I haven't spoken through the day, I will be there on an evening when they're in bed. Okay. Try and enjoy the rest of your day. I'm gonna, like I say, phone goes off now, and I go pick up my son, take him to the play area or park, whatever, and it just helps me take my mind off things. As I said, it's Leeds United and my children. Outside of that, it's life shit because the UK is terrible, and yeah. Anyway, that's political. Let's move. I love you all. Thanks for smashing a like and being here, and I'll see you probably tonight at some point, and try and enjoy your day if you can.